Hello everybody, welcome to this B2 First Certificate, that's FCE, Writing Paper video course. In this video lesson I'm going to show you the detailed format of each of the different writings that you could have in the FCE B2 First exam. But before we look at that, I just want to tell you that there are actually 4 different papers in the B2 First exam. The reading and use of English paper is like 2 different parts that they put together. And then there's a listening, writing and speaking. I've made video courses for all of these, and I will put the links to my video courses for these different parts of the exam in the description with this video. But we are going to be focusing on the writing paper in this lesson and in this video course. And as you can see here, the writing paper is 1/5 of the overall marks. That's 20% of the overall marks for the exam. And it lasts for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So, how long is the writing paper? As I said, it's 1 hour and 20 minutes or 80 minutes long. There are 2 different parts. You need to do 2 different writings. In part 1, you have to write an essay. And this needs to be between 140 and 190 words. So when you're practicing for the exam, you should count how many words you write in an essay, and then you should have an idea, after doing this several times, about the size of your writing and how much 140 to 190 words should look like. I don't recommend reading or counting every word in the exam, because it would take too long. But if you practice doing that before the exam, you have a good idea how long 140 to 190 words is. So I do recommend counting them when you're practicing before the exam. In writing part 2, you have a choice from 3 different questions, and you can choose. These 3 questions may be either a review, or an article, or a report, or an email, or a letter. So they take 3 of these options and give you 3 questions, but you only need to write about 1 of them. And how many words for part 2? It's the same as part 1, 140 to 190 words. So, let's look in a bit more detail at these different parts. So how long do you have for part 1? You have 40 minutes. This is what I suggest, because the paper is 80 minutes long in total, and you have equal marks for part 1 and part 2. So divide 80 into 2, 40 minutes, 40 minutes. So 40 minutes for the essay. And I advise that you have 5 minutes at the beginning to plan your answer, and 5 minutes at the end to check your answer. Now this is really important. You can save yourself a lot of marks by reading over what you've written at the end. You find spelling mistakes and silly mistakes that you know how to correct. This is the same for all my students, so definitely save yourself 5 minutes at the end to check your work. It's so important. You also have, therefore, 30 minutes for the writing. Now style, your style of writing, is appropriate for both parts. How you write an essay and the type of words and the style you use is different from writing a report, for example. And in this video course, we will look at those differences in the following lessons. So these are the criteria. These are what the examiners are looking for when they read your work. They want to see if you've done these things. Content. Have you answered the question properly? Communicative achievement. Have you been able to say what you wanted to say in an easy to follow way? Organization. Is your writing well organized? Language. Have you used a variety of language, different grammar structures, etc.? And we will look at these when we look at every different part of the writing exam. We're going to closely follow these marking criteria. So these are the different types of writings in part 2. Review, article, report, email, letter. But remember, you are only going to have 3 questions, and you only have to answer 1 question. But you don't know which 3 topics may come up. Could be a review and an article and a letter, or it could be a report, an email and a review, for example. You don't know. There will be 3 questions, and you need to answer one of them on one of these different types. So how long is part 2? Again, you have 80 minutes for part 1 and part 2. They have equal marks, so you should take 40 minutes for part 2. And as I said for the essay, you should take 5 minutes to plan your answer at the beginning. Think about the organization, the structure, the content. 5 minutes to check at the end. Watch out for those spellings, silly grammar mistakes. And 30 minutes to write your answer. And as I said before, the style is appropriate. How you write a report, or a letter, or an email is very different to how you write an essay. And if you want to learn more about those differences, keep watching the next lessons in this video course. So, as I've said before, you have 3 different questions, and you only write about 1 of them. And the criteria are the same as for the essay. Content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. And before we finish this video lesson, here's a very quick tip for you, which I haven't emphasized enough. Make sure you save time at the end of the writing to read over your work. So many mistakes that students make, and they know how to correct them, but they don't read over their work. They finish, they don't read their work, and they lose a lot of marks. And it's a really bad way to lose marks, because you know how to correct them a lot of the time. So make sure you save 5 minutes at the end of the essay and 5 minutes at the end of part 2 to read over what you've written and correct those silly mistakes. And in the next lesson, we're going to be focusing in a lot more detail on the marking criteria for both parts 1 and part 2 of the writing paper. And this will give you a really good idea of what the examiners want you to write about in the exam, so you can successfully get higher marks by targeting those specific things that you need to target. So, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next lesson.